Hey guys, another beautiful day in Oklahoma. Beautiful evening, actually. Look at that sun going down just over the trees. Should get back to one of my favorite spots by the lake. As the sun's going down, we can maybe watch the sunset and get some good video of that, or maybe even just pictures. We'll see. But anyway, today I'm going to talk about, or tonight, I am going to talk about a subject that I just find hilarious. Because people just don't understand, I don't know what you'd say, science? But anyway, liter bikes versus 600cc bikes. It's always on the internet, and some of it's trolling. But these guys that think their 600s are faster than 1000cc bikes. Now, maybe your brand new 600's faster than my 2000 model 1000cc bike, right? But you go year for year, super sport for sport bike, 600 versus 1000. It is not faster, guys. Come on. There is no replacement for displacement. There isn't. Even you Fast and Furious car guys. Yeah, you can put a turbo on, twin turbos, whatever. You can do that to a bigger engine too. I mean, and then it's going to make even more power. Anyway, so let's talk about the liter bikes and 600s, right? So just the other day, the reason this got me going is just the other day, somebody posted in one of my groups, Isle of Man race, the 600 class, and how fast the guy was. Yeah. They're freaking fast. And he said, for all of you that don't think 600s are fast. No one thinks 600s aren't fast. Most of the people that might say 600s are slower than 1000. They're not saying that your 600 is slow. They're saying your 600 is slower. Right? So I made the comment on there and said no one, you know, basically what I just said, except for I said, if you look at the Isle of the Man TT 1000cc bikes, their lap times are faster than the 600s. That tells you the 1000s are faster, right? First thing out of a guy's mouth. Oh, a typical 1000cc rider response. You couldn't take your 1000cc bike and even come close to hanging with him at the Isle. You know what? I probably can't. When I was younger, I'd have probably been willing to give it a shot because I was crazy enough. Now at my age, nah, I don't have it anymore. Don't have the fearlessness, I guess you could call it. And the opportunity is never going to present itself anyway, so it's just a mute argument, really. But that's not the point. The point wasn't if I could go faster than that 600 on my 1000. The point is that he could go faster on the 1000cc bike than he does on the 600. In fact, if you look it up and look at the racers in the Isle of the Man, most of the guys that are fast on the 600s also ride the 1000s and set the lap records, etc. So the same rider going from a 600 to a 1000cc bike is probably going to run faster lap times every time, and should. So the other thing I said is, when I responded to his comment, I said, either can you on your 600. Of course he's not going to be able to. These guys that are running at the Isle of the Man, first off, they're crazy. Full-blown crazy. No fear whatsoever. The term no fear for no fear gear back in the day that everybody kind of adopted and just started posting no fear and had no idea what it was about. But that term was made because of guys like this. Fearless. They do not fear death. They do not fear injury. They do not fear anything. They're crazy, right? And like I said, I was probably that way when I was younger. But anyway, they're also they're the cream of the crop. They're sponsored by factories. I mean, they're the best of the best. And yeah, some of them ride all crossed up. Some of them ride really odd situations. And for the Isle of Man, they need to because of walls being on the side of the road, everything else. So, none of us normal riders, I don't care who you are, even Max Wrist. I mean, a lot of you guys out there, you know, follow Max Wrist, right? He's a great rider. I mean, he's a good rider. Pretty fearless. Crashes, been crashing quite a bit lately. Been getting pretty lucky that he's not dead. But he would not even hold a candle next to the guys that are riding at the Isle of Man. He'd be lap traffic. So, to even say something like that is ridiculous, right? So let's get back to the subject at hand. So you've got a 1000cc bike. I hear it all the time. Oh, they're so much heavier than the 600. Are they really? Now, I don't have the stats right in front of me, but I bet they're within 20 pounds. What's 20 pounds? 20 pounds is nothing. Riders vary by more than 20 pounds, you know? I mean, they vary by more than 100 pounds. That 20 pounds on a bike is not going to make that big a difference. Now, let's look at the horsepower. Most 600s are right around that 130 horse. Some are a little less, some are a little more. I believe your ZX6 is still the top dog because it's 636 cubic inches. Oh, wait a minute. Are we talking about more displacement there than most of the other 600s? Huh. And it makes more power and more torque. That's interesting, huh? So now you look at the 1000cc bikes or leader bikes. Some of them are 1100. Oh, wait a minute. Now we're going up in cc's again. We're getting higher displacement and we're getting higher horsepower. But anyway, most of your leader bikes now are over 200 horsepower right out of the box. And some of them are even up in the 220, 230 range. Your Panigale, which is, you know, 1300 cc's basically, and your RSV4 Aprilia, which is 1100 cc's. I mean, they're getting bigger, right? So more displacement makes more power. Huh. But now let's look at that. 130 horsepower on a 600, 200 plus on a leader bike. That's 70 more horsepower minimum and only 20 pounds difference. Yeah, your 600 might stoplight to stoplight right out of the hole in low gear because the 1000cc guy can't just dump the clutch and go because he's going to flip over backwards. You might hang with them for first gear and maybe even part of second, but after that it's not even close, you know? I mean, it's not. I should have had my camera on when my buddy and I did a pull with my CB1000 here, which is a low horsepower super naked, right? One of the lowest horsepower ones made. And his Tracer 900, which is basically your FJ or MT9, MT09, you know, whatever. First gear, he actually hit it just a little bit ahead of me and jumped a little bit, but I actually pulled on him in first, but when we hit second, I was gone. I mean, it wasn't even close. So, and that's probably only 30 horsepower difference, if even that, between the two. So to say your 600's faster than 1000 is just stupid. Now, you can soup your 600 up and maybe be able to beat some stock 1000s, but a 1000cc motorcycle with the same modifications as your 600 is going to beat you still. The argument is so dumb. Now, riders come into play big time. Of course they do. We kind of touched on that before. if you're a phenomenal rider on a 600 and there's a guy that's basically an intermediate rider on 1,000 and you guys are riding out in the twisties, you might be able to outride him on your 600. But you could probably get on that 1,000 and be even faster. So I guess I'm mostly just venting about all this stuff because it's just so frustrating to keep seeing it. And the what do you call it? I don't want to call it stupidness of it. The ignorance probably is better. They don't know any better. They're just reading what they see online and they jump on the bandwagon because they have a 600 and they don't have 1,000. Why? Well, who cares? You're riding in the same wind. You're having fun. Learn to be a better rider so that you can beat up on the 1,000s and make fun of your buddies that are on their 1,000s. Go out to the track and beat the 1,000cc guys. You know, everybody, I hear that all the time too. Oh, a 600 will outdo 1,000 on the track all the time, especially on a shorter track. We've got a pretty small track here that we go to, and the fastest bikes out there are the leader bikes. I got a buddy that's got a full-blown race bike, Kawasaki 636, full race bike. I took my 1,000cc Honda CBR, you know, 180 horsepower is all it has, all completely stock. Went out to the track, first time I'd ever been to this track. I ran 5 to 6 seconds a lap faster than he did. My tires actually, I didn't even get rid of my chicken strips fully. His tires had rubber rolled off the sides. Why is that? Well, because there's a number of reasons. Could have been my riding abilities better than his, my riding positions better, whatever. Could have been my 1,000cc bike has a lot more power, so in the straightaways I pulled a lot harder. Now, another thing that a 1,000cc has advantage over is torque. Way more torque. And for all of you that don't know what torque is down low. Torque is not up in the upper RPMs. Upper RPMs is horsepower. That's where all the 600s have their powers, in the upper RPMs. Torque is down low. So a 1,000cc bike has twice as much torque as a 600. So coming out of a corner, your 1,000cc bike is going to pull way harder, which gives you an advantage even at the track, because you can leave it. I was able to leave my bike in second gear all the way around that track. Now, there was one corner that was pretty sharp where I probably should have shifted down to first, and there was a straightaway that was pretty long that I probably should have shifted to third to get the max speed out of it. But being smooth and consistent is faster than being herky-jerky and bonsaiing it. So I just left it in second, and it was easy peasy, right? So that's another advantage a 1,000cc bike has over a 600cc bike. 600s, you got to keep it up in the power band, almost like riding a two-stroke. You got to be on the pipe or you're not going to make power, and you're going to get passed by a 450 motard. I mean, that's just the way it is. So that's my rant on 1,000cc bikes versus 600cc bikes. Your 600cc bike is not faster than 1,000. Your riding ability might make you faster than the other rider, but your bike is not faster, people. Now, like I said, if you take a 2000 model 1,000cc bike, which is making about 130-40 horsepower, and you take your brand new 600cc bike, it's going to be a close race. In fact, the 600 might get it because they are lighter nowadays than they were back then. But you go year for year, brand new for brand new, it's just idiotic to think that your 600 can beat 1,000. So that's my rant on that whole subject. Adopt, don't shop, and we will catch you guys on the flip side. Ride safe, guys.